blasted, so they're just in the process of, I've got to put them back on the car and do a little bit more fitting before I'm happy with the fit, and before I get ready to go to paint. I'll talk a little bit about while I'm here, I may as well talk a little bit about my my TR3 project, and I'll just kind of walk around it and get out of the focus a little bit. Oh yeah, my engine hoist here as well. Have an engine stand that's actually in the storage shed at the back. Just I don't use the engine stand every day, so I do use the hoist quite a bit to lift up the body of the car, of the TR3, and I put it on the frame. I can probably say I've probably had that body off probably 100 times on and off, just doing adjustments and fitting of panels and that kind of thing. So anyway, so here's the current project. It's the like I said, it's a 1960 TR3A. I bought this car about 3 years ago, and I bought it from the second owner, who'd owned it since 1967. So he'd owned it for quite some time, actually, for as long as I'd been born. So I was born in 67, so this guy had owned it since 67. 72-year-old guy. It's kind of a sad story. He was getting arthritic and couldn't work on the car anymore, so he decided to give it up. So this car, for the later part of its life, for probably the last 15 years of its life, was actually a vintage racer. So it's had a few close calls with the walls and other cars, I would say, based on the damage I've seen to the panels. Lots of Bondo in it, lots of rust, lots of repairs. You can see a lot of brazing work that was done pretty crudely. So a lot of rusted out cage nuts on these cars, which are not fun to deal with. I did replace the battery box already, and have replaced the metal along the fenders, and some cage nuts here you can see welded in. Originally this project wasn't going to be that extensive. I was just going to sort of clean it up a little bit and paint it and be on my way and use it as a driver. But as you can see, I replaced the floor pans, I replaced the inner and outer sills on it. I replaced actually the whole rear valence of the car. You can actually see the only panel with the original paint is that the white spare tire cover with the red stripe. That's the only original panel paint I have left on there. So that's what it looked like as far as the color was white with the red stripe. Had a red interior before. I'm going to go to a black interior with the car's going to be white, and I've actually started painting the underside. I don't know if you can see that, but I've actually already started painting the underside of it with Pour 15, and then there's this product that Pour 15 makes called White Coat. So I've done it with this white coat as well, which is pretty solid stuff. You can hit it with a hammer and it doesn't chip off. So a little bit of work to do here still on the closeout panels. So I'm going to probably do that in the next week or so. So that's pretty much the TR3 body tub. As you can see, it's pretty clean. I've done some blasting on here. I'm getting ready to paint the tub. I've got to do some grinding of some welds that I was doing for the closeout panels from below. So that's just the weld coming through the other side. So it's not too bad. It's going to require, like I said, quite a bit of body work on the panels in particular, because they're pretty wavy, and you can see a lot more brazing over here on this side. Brazed a bunch of metal in there. So I'm probably just going to leave that though, and it's going to get some body fill over it, a little skim coat of fill on it, and besides, the fenders pretty much come up over top of that anyway. So basically the motor and the chassis is already done. I've spent most of my time doing that over the last year and a half or so, and got it to run. If you look at one of my other videos, I've got the car fired up, I think, in the end of December. So that's all ready to go. It runs really well. Hadn't been running about 9 years. So I'm looking forward to getting the body back on and getting it out on the road. So that will be a lot of fun. I've never actually driven a TR3, so I'm looking forward to it. Certainly feels good sitting in it. Body panels are up here. The panels have all been stripped and then just primed, but you can see actually here there's I left a lot of the Bondo in this fender, but you can see it's pretty wavy in this area. There's some of the other panels are pretty bad. There's a few other panels that have some slide hammer pulls where dents have been pulled out, that kind of thing. Front apron is in rough shape. It's had a big slot cut out for an oil cooler, and I don't think I'm going to run an oil cooler back on the car, so I am going to make it it's going to be a driver. It's going to be, a streetable, so it's going to have a sort of a retro race style look to it, but it's going to be very streetable. Since I have all the logbooks and everything for the car, I do have quite a bit of the history of the car. I have some photos of the guy racing it, and like I said, I have all his logbooks. So I'm going to put it back to being a little bit of a racy style with some alloy rims on it, and I've got a roll bar for it, and I'll put the stripes back on, and maybe a number. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to wait and see. I think that's pretty much it for my garage. Don't think I missed anything. And of course, if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. But you may have noticed I don't have a workbench in the garage. So what I've got here is actually I have a couple of folding tables that I pop out and use if I'm in need of a bench. And they come in handy. They fold away nicely and don't take up a lot of room. And if I'm ever in need of, I have a couple of vices actually underneath the sandblaster that I use. I inherited both these from my dad. Actually, my dad's used to be a woodworking teacher, so I've got an old wood shop vise there. It's actually good for metal. I find it's good for metal bending, with flanges and that type of thing. And I've got another small vise there. And I have one of these little workmate pop-up work tables. If I ever need to, get a vise attached to it, that's a good little thing to use for that. And of course, all my cleaning chemicals and oil and all that kind of stuff I've got stored in behind there. My waxes and polishes, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's pretty much about it. If you've not had one of these, the great little device for pulling your engine out, this Oberg tilt lift works great if you're pulling an engine out of a TR6 and you need to get a good tilt on it. Highly recommend one of those if you're pulling it out without getting the body off. Come along for getting a car on the trailer. I had to pull a few cars on trailers for buddies before. Oil gun, that's a sealer, white sealer for the TR3. And back to the ladies. And I think that's about it. So hopefully it's going to clear up, but I think we're in for a little bit of rain today. That's okay. It'd be nice to get the trees to come out and the grass a little bit greener. Alright, so I think I'm going to sign off. I guess you probably... Here, I'm going to flip the camera around so you can actually see me. I don't really want to be in front of the camera, but anyway, I'll give you a shot of what I look like just so you can put a face to the voice. So, hey there. Hopefully this is working. I'm Tush. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, guys, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.